My name is Melanie Layne. I focus on the art form of visual art, specifically observing and responding to portraits. Teachers are often looking for ways to motivate and engage students in the study of historical figures, and that's exactly what the portraits do. I use this strategy with students from first grade to 8th grade. I often think of us as adults when we read biographies or memoirs or we read about people. We typically want to learn about them because we have some background knowledge. Yet so often with students, they don't have that background knowledge, so the portraits really fill that gap, if you will. The portraits are often that entryway to have students really interested and eager to want to learn more about the social studies content. The portraits allow the students to very quickly, so in a matter of 15 or 20 minutes, if they've now observed, say, 15 to 20 different portraits of the same person, they now have a really good idea of what this person looks like. They have a good idea of their contributions, what is important to them. They also now have a lot of questions. Why did the artist make these choices? For the students, it's kind of like a puzzle that they want to solve. They want to figure out why George Washington Carver is holding a microscope. They want to know why he's in a science lab. So it's very exciting for them to now research about a person. Before students can read the portraits as biographies, before they can look at these portraits of historical figures and know how to draw conclusions from them, we first have to teach students what to look for, what to notice anytime they see a portrait. So they first need to notice 6 elements that I introduce to them. And the first one being the facial expression. So we want to notice how the artist expressed the person's feelings, their face. The second thing that students should notice is the focal point, where the person's eyes are looking. Each of these are choices that the artist can make, and it can have a tremendous impact on the way viewers perceive the person in the portrait. The third thing that we want to notice when looking at portraits is the gesture. So the gestures, what the person's body is doing. The fourth thing that we want to notice when looking at portraits is the clothing. So what is the person wearing? Is the clothing can give us clues as to the time period, the time of year, the occupation, the class, interest. The fifth thing that we want to notice is the setting. It's just like the setting of a story. So the when and the where. If it's Jackie Robinson and his portrait's on the baseball field, and maybe another one where he's in the courtroom, that's going to give us 2 different settings and places to think about. The sixth and final thing that students or we need to notice when looking at a portrait are the objects. These 6 things can all be symbols to tell us more about the person. So now when students have a lot of background knowledge about the person through portraits and the reading of additional materials, they're able to return to the portraits, describe and explain the symbolism within the portrait. So it's a real high-level assessment that the teachers can use in their classroom. It's pretty exciting when you see students not only noticing these things in the portraits, but when they really truly begin to read them and make meaning from them and draw conclusions and make inferences. It's a really powerful reading skill and history skill that they can take with them throughout their life.